Hello, everybody. I am in Washington, D.C. Why? Why, you ask, am I in Washington, D.C.? Well, because I have spent the last 2 days, it's hard for me to know, at a conference for the Victory Fund, which is one of the premier LGBTQ plus organizations in the country. And in fact, Victory Fund has a global reach as well. And this is my first time at the conference. This is actually the first time I've been involved with Victory Fund, although of course I knew about its work. And one of the coolest things about it is that they expend considerable resources on training candidates on how to run. And it's a fascinating, extraordinarily well crafted program. So my time here started on Wednesday night at a board dinner at which we got to meet some really quite incredible people. And yesterday and today was more of the same. The people involved in Victory Fund are extraordinarily dedicated and passionate about the work they do, which in these very dark times is increasingly important. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but I also wanted to mention that today, President Joe Biden was honored by Victory Fund because of the extraordinary work his administration did for the LGBTQ plus communities, which I think it's very important to remind ourselves is work he did for all of us. Because, and this is one of the through lines of the messages of the last couple of days, we all have a stake in what's going on in this country right now. And I believe it was the mayor of San Diego, Mayor Gloria, who made it very clear that on the one hand, members of the LGBTQ plus community have a particular obligation to help people understand what is going on right now, because we are members of every community. We are men, we are women, we are Black, we are Hispanic, we are immigrants, and on and on and on. So this is partially about the intersectionality that helps all of us find commonality. The other thing that was a through line was the assault under which the trans community finds itself because of the cruelty and depravity of the Trump regime. All of which, of course, is sanctioned by Donald, who, quite frankly, has no ideology, and separate and apart from what he can get from empowering those who use trans rights as a cudgel, who use trans rights as a way to divide us. Couldn't care less. It is imperative that we understand the assault trans people in this country are under, particularly trans women and particularly trans women of color. Literally, the United States government, led by the Department of so-called Justice, is in the business of erasing not the rights of trans people, but trans people. Think about that. In America, in 2025, the government is hell-bent on erasing people. In one of the panels today, before President Biden took the stage, one of the panelists said something that was basic, but also something I never really thought about before. Everybody in America receives gender affirming care. Every single one of us. So why is it a problem and trans people do. Trans people make up less than 1% of this population, and yet the Republican Party, the fascist Republican Party, is led by Donald, are trying to make us believe that somehow not just trans people having rights, but trans people existing is a threat to the rest of us. The reason, again, Joe Biden was honored by Victory Fund today, and he was the first current or former president ever to attend a Victory Fund event, was because his administration did more for the rights of the LGBTQ plus community than any other administration had done. And his administration actually looked like America in terms of people of color, in terms of people from the LGBTQ plus community, in terms of race, ethnicity, etc., gender equality. The Biden administration looked like America in a way no other administration had before. When President Biden spoke, you know, I have a tendency to be pretty black and white about, you know, and I think it's my way of negotiating what's going on right now. Also, because I think some things are some issues we should be black and white about. You know, I don't think there should be any negotiating around immigrant rights. I don't think there should be any negotiating on LGBTQ plus rights. I don't think there should be any negotiating on a woman's right to choose. For me, those are not political issues. They're either healthcare issues or issues of humanity. And there should be no negotiating. But I also realized that as President Biden was discussing what his administration did and where we are now, I mean, leaving aside, of course, how depressing it was that he still isn't president or that Kamala Harris isn't president, that we accomplished so much, but failed to protect what we had accomplished. And that's a mistake we seem to make again and again and again. And he urged us to continue the fight. He reminded us that America is an idea we need to protect and nurture. And it is an aspiration we have never achieved. And we must continue to fight for that idea, which is essentially equality, the idea that we are all equal. And we all have the right to the pursuit of happiness, to liberty. But in failing to protect our progress, we leave ourselves open to the kind of hideous backsliding that has occurred since January 20th, 2025. And in being reminded of that, I, of course, still, even though I probably shouldn't, I take it very personally knowing that the person responsible is my uncle. I take it very personally knowing that people I care about, people I love, people I value, people I respect are on a daily basis being harmed by this person and this regime. I take it very personally knowing that all that we've accomplished is at risk because, again, of the depraved, deviant, unqualified, cruel, damaged person who happens to be my uncle. So I need to stop taking it personally. I know it's not good for me to do that, but I think that's also one of the reasons why I see things in black and white terms. It just it keeps me focused. It keeps me from having to grapple with the gray areas, which can be very difficult. as all of you know. But the biggest takeaway from the last couple of days is that there are so many extraordinary people in this fight. As I mentioned earlier, one of the most innovative and interesting and valuable things Victory Fund does is provide candidate training. And, there are a limited number of slots for such things because it requires resources and staff and funds, of course. And every single time they announce a new training program, more people apply than there are slots. And this, I found out today, was one of the most humbling things I'd learned. There is now a training specifically for trans candidates, 15 slots, 68 people. 68 people applied. Even though being a trans person in America is among the most terrifying things one can be. Because the government of the United States of America is telling the American people that trans people not just don't have rights, do not have the right to exist. And yet, look how many people are standing up. Look how many gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer people are standing up to run for office and change things in a climate in which they are at risk on a daily basis. As I said, it was humbling. It was inspiring. And it reminded me that if we're going to get through this, more than anything else, we have to remember that we are in this together. We have to approach this not as people from the LGBTQ plus community or the immigrant community or the Black community or as women or as men or as non-binary people or as college educated or not, or working class or not. We have to approach this as Americans, as human beings who have a common purpose, which should be to make sure that if we believe in the American experiment, if we believe in democracy, all of us should have the same rights to happiness and security and safety and love. Let's dive in. Hi, welcome to this evening's episode of Mary Trump Live. I just talk a lot, so, we'll get right to it. But it has been a fascinating few days, and I'll be talking about it more. And more importantly, instead of you're listening to me talk about it, I'm going to be interviewing a lot of people I met this over the last couple of days who are people I really believe that you want to hear from. So I will keep you posted on that. So let's get to the worst news. Today, the Trump regime's Health and Human Service Secretary, the vile and execrable and deeply unqualified Robert Kennedy, made progress, if you can call it that, on his war on vaccines. The New York Times reports that a federal vaccine advisory panel voted to end the recommendation that all newborns get the hepatitis B inoculation. Experts say this reverses decades of progress in preventing this potentially deadly virus. Now, mothers who test negative will be told to consult their doctors and decide whether to delay vaccination for 2 months. This has alarmed actual medical doctors, public health officials, and former CDC leaders who were actually qualified for their jobs. Again, unlike Kennedy, I think it's important to remind ourselves of this. In his past life, Robert Kennedy was an environmental attorney. He does not have a degree in science of any kind, either undergraduate or graduate. He is not a medical doctor. He is not a virologist. He is not an immunologist. He knows nothing. He has just, for reasons that surpass my understanding, decided to be plugged into the conspiracy theory that vaccines cause autism, which has been debunked time and time again. Expert warns that the new practice of failing to inoculate newborn infants from hepatitis B risks increasing infections and undermining confidence in childhood vaccines, which we have seen happening, especially since COVID. The committee now consists largely of anti-vax vaccine figures appointed after Kennedy, in contradiction to his promise to the Senate while he was essentially interviewing for the job, hoping to be confirmed, fired all 17 previous members because they did not hold his unfounded and discredited views on vaccines. Critics say the board used weak evidence, hastily altered proposals, and dismissed decades of research, which is exactly what you would expect from a hand-picked board of Robert Kennedys. So when we get to the point where children are dying in increasing numbers from easily preventable diseases like measles, the mumps, whooping cough, that is rubella and the whooping cough are the same thing, hepatitis B, polio, make smallpox great again, et cetera, et cetera. The blood on Kennedy's hands, well, it will be unspeakable. Now, let's get to more unspeakable things. The corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court continues to do Donald's bidding. As reported by Vox, the Supreme Court reinstated the Texas redistricting plan previously struck down by a lower court. Now, what does this mean? Do you remember when Donald decided, well, it wasn't Donald, somebody told Donald to ask Governor Greg Abbott of Texas to engage in a mid-term redistricting. According to the Constitution, every 10 years there's a census, and that is when new congressional maps are drawn because we're counting who is where in America. It's supposed to happen in the tens. So in 2000, 2010, 2020, the next census is supposed to be in 2030. But some wily fascists in the Trump regime convinced Donald that we should do that in 2025. So Donald told Abbott to redraw Texas's congressional map in 2025 in order to give Republicans an advantage, because Donald knows that if things were left to stand, he would lose the House in next year's midterms. Greg Abbott, being the very amenable fascist that he is, agreed to do this. District Court ruled against him. The Supreme Court, in an unsigned ruling, said, nope, Texas can go ahead and reinstate those redistricting plans that will benefit Republicans. The order was unsigned, as I said, but the three so-called liberal justices, Kagan, Sotomayor, and Jackson, signed their dissent, so we know that it was a 6-3 decision. The new map, pushed by Abbott and demanded by Donald, is expected to give Republicans at least 5 new seats through cheating, which is apparently constitutional now, as long as it benefits Republicans, thanks to the corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court. The ruling builds on earlier cases that already shielded partisan gerrymandering from federal review. And they've imposed even tougher standards on future plaintiffs who allege race-based gerrymandering in their districts, because this is the thing to remember. This is not just redrawing things to benefit Republicans. It's redrawing things to benefit Republicans by discriminating against Black and brown people. That is unconstitutional. It's illegal. And the corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court just made it all okay. because it benefits Donald Trump. That seems to be their sole purpose. I just heard that they are also going to consider Donald's challenge to the 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship, which should send a chill down everybody's spine. There's a little good news. Donald's hijacking of the Justice Department faced a harsh reality check today when, as NBC News reports, a federal grand jury declined to re-indict New York Attorney General Letitia James. This comes less than 2 weeks after the original case against her for bank fraud and false statements was thrown out. In that case, a judge ruled the charges were brought by an illegally appointed prosecutor, the woefully unqualified idiot Lindsay Halligan. Halligan is Donald's former personal defense lawyer who has zero prosecutorial experience. So that's exciting. But, we're talking about Donald's Department of Justice. So I'm pretty sure that Attorney General Pam Bondi will continue her pursuit of Letitia James because, one, Donald is a vindictive baby, and two, Letitia James is one of those people who will refuse to back down. Speaking of which, we recently made a video about the fact that Donald is starting to go after the wrong people. That includes Letitia James, that includes James Comey, that includes Mark Kelly. And by that, I mean people who are not going to capitulate to him no matter what. They will defend themselves. They will defend their rights, no matter the personal or professional cost to them. Right? Just ask E. Jean Carroll about that. So here, though, we have an example of what is wrong with people and corporations and entities who refuse to stand up to Donald's bullying, to stand up to his egregious, unfounded attacks on them. I want to focus on one of the reasons we're here, that rich, powerful entities continue to cede ground to this vile creature who is determined to destroy the American Republic simply because he needs more money. I am talking about FIFA, one of the most corrupt organizations on the planet. The World Cup draw took place today in Washington, D.C. Going to get to a clip of that in a second. But as you may know, Donald has been gunning, if you'll forgive the phrase, to get a Nobel Peace Prize for a while now. Why I'm guessing it's because Barack Obama got one, so he wants one too. But the idea that somebody who's done not just nothing to promote peace in the world, but has actually done a lot to destroy people's lives and engaged in some of the most vile, cruel, vicious behavior towards immigrants and other in developing nations. Why he would be insane enough to think that he's ever going to get the Nobel Peace Prize is beyond my comprehension. However, the administrators at FIFA decided they were going to make him feel better about it. And you know what they did? They gave the little fucking toddler the first ever FIFA Peace Prize. What? This was an award that was created just last month to make the fucking toddler happy, I guess, for their reasons. I'm sure they're all completely selfless and have nothing to do with money. The ceremony was a total embarrassment. So I'm going to share it with you. Take a look.
Okay, let me hold. Fantastic. Excellent. And you will receive also, of course, a certificate which reads out, and I would read it out with your permission, what are the reasons for you receiving this FIFA Peace Prize. Football unites the world. So the FIFA Peace Prize is presented annually on behalf of the billions of football-loving people from around the world to a distinguished individual who exemplifies an unwavering commitment to advancing peace and unity throughout the world through their notable leadership and action. And therefore, FIFA, the Fédération Internationale de Football Association, awards the 2025 FIFA Peace Prize, Football Unites the World, to Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, in recognition of his exceptional and extraordinary actions to promote peace and unity around the world.
Annual, which is to say this is the first one, and we made it up because you're such a fucking baby. And we want something from you, Donald, king of quid pro quo, insecure idiot who constantly needs his ego fed, even if it's with lies. Yeah, I think we need to reassess the number of sociopaths there are wandering our planet in positions of massive power. Because the idea that anybody could stand up and with a straight face present that bizarre fake award to that criminal is beyond my comprehension. Essentially, all of the power right now seems to be in all of the wrong hands, which makes the efforts of organizations like the Victory Fund all the more important. A reminder, it's the holiday season. It is. It's, when we eat more mashed potatoes than we probably should, for example. So we have the Mary Trump Media Holiday Merch Mashed Potato Head Contest, which we talked about before. There you go. So what we want you guys to do, if you are so inclined and have some kind of artistic bent, or even if you don't, I mean, my God, it could be stick figures. That's my jam. Send us your original illustrations depicting my now infamous Donald mashed potato store. It's actually the legendary mashed potato story of the Trump family. It's like a superhero villain origin story, basically. So we're going to review these submissions, and the winner's work will be featured on our official merchandise. The deadline is, again, December 8th. So May, the best potato artist, that's a thing now. Just like the FIFA Peace Prize is a thing now. So before we move on, just want to share with you some examples of the great stuff we've received so far. There's this one. Well, that's pretty much probably how I would have looked had I been there, but my dad was 12. So it would have been weird if I'd been there, I think. We also received this outdoor interpretation. So you guys have your work cut out for you, but I know you are up to the challenge. You have 3 days. That's right. Monday is the deadline. So we're very much looking forward to what you come up with. And now it is time to breathe. And since we've just breathed, it is time for today's emotional sport moment. Some viewers are experiencing a polar vortex. In fact, my daughter's up in Boston. It was 13 degrees today. I'm in Washington, D.C. It snowed today. Like, that practically never happens here. It didn't just snow, like it actually stuck, not on the ground, but on tree branches and on cars. It was amazing. So we're going to end today's show on a very calm, wintry scene. Here's a quiet lake during the cold season. There's snow, which is lovely, and some ducks who handle the cold much better than I do. So please watch, relax, keep breathing. Can we watch that again? Yeah, because honestly, like it has been a pretty incredible couple of days, but I'm an introvert. So, all right, let us get to your comments, questions, etc. Every Eve 65 is a new member. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Marion is a new member. Thank you. It is great to have you here. Oh my goodness, another new member, Shallon Jaunt. Hello and welcome. And again, I didn't know that was the thing you could do, but thank you so much. My dear Cheryl, thank you as always for gifting one Mary Trump Media membership. And of course, the always anticipated My dear Cheryl twofer. Thank you. This is a TGIF. Hope you're going to have a great weekend. I hope all of you also have a great weekend. Current user 3852 has been a member for 3 months. Awesomeness. And comment, waiting for the MASH merch is hard. Tell me about it. Waiting for the merch is hard, but don't get me started. In the middle of nowhere, thank you so much as always. Comment, I think Viagra should be classified as gender affirming care and subject to the same scrutiny. Yeah, that and I don't know, vasectomies. Basically anything. Prostate exams, because isn't that gender affirming? In the middle of nowhere, again, thank you so much for gifting one Mary Trump Media membership. My dear Cheryl, thank you again. Comment, you can't pick your family, don't take that on. I know, but it's... Still, I don't feel guilty. Like, I don't feel responsible, but I definitely take it personally, which is still not great, but it's not as bad as the other things, I guess. Friend House, thank you so much, as always. Comment, thank you for being loud for LGBTQ plus rights. It can be really rough over here. I'm sure in the US is worse. It is indeed. It is indeed worse. I know, I mean, you paid in euros, so I don't know quite where you are, but yeah, hopefully wherever you are, it is better than here, because it is very, very bad here, especially if you're transgender. It is unspeakable what this fascist government is doing to trans people. Current user 3852, thank you again. This is a rotten relative. Yeah, well, sadly, that is a not an uncommon commonality. Richard, thank you so much for that comment. Rep Adelita Grijalva joined in a protest during an ICE raid in Tucson. I'm guessing, a couple hours ago. Take notes, Jeffries, Schumer, this is how you lead. No kidding. No kidding. I don't know what these two New Yorkers have been up to, but they have not been doing enough. They have not been showing up. So thank you to the finally sworn in Representative Adelita Grijalva. By the way, it took 7 weeks to get for Mike Johnson to swear her in. You may be aware there was a special election in Tennessee last week, this week. My apologies, on Tuesday. And even though the Republican won, the Democrat, it was a plus 22 district for Republicans. Jesus, let me get my facts straight. Donald won that district by 22 points. In this one, the Democrat came within 8 points. That's huge. The Republican who won, Mark Van Epps, was sworn in the next day. Interesting. We have so many things we need to fix in this country. Susan, thank you so much, as always, for gifting 5 Maritime Media memberships. Awesome. Edie has been a member for 4 months, which is fantastic. Comment, I know you're nothing like your uncle. Nothing. I can't prove it. I cannot prove it. But my theory is that I was found under a rock. Edie, thank you so much for being a super sticker and for that as well. So cool. His Divine Scotto, hello. Been a while. Great to have you here. Gifted 5 Maritime Media memberships. Thank you so much. Susan is reminding us that this is the link to the holiday merch contest. Thank you, Susan. And thank you for this. This is a fee for Maritime Media to present Donald with a golden trophy filled with mashed potatoes. I couldn't resist. Yeah, and let's dump it on his fucking head. I guess I owe money for this word. That's okay. Gary gifted 1 Maritime Media membership. Thank you so very much for that, Gary. And Zilla Joey, thank you very much, as always. Comment, I have 2 transgender children and I'm scared to pieces for them, though I wasn't 10 years ago. They are my children. I love them. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it, except that that's all Republicans have. All they have is instilling hate and fear in their ignorant base. It shouldn't be an issue. It should never be an issue. The idea that what adult human beings choose to do is a threat to anybody if what they choose to do is completely personal or consensual is beyond my comprehension. And we need to understand, one, that this is a very, very vulnerable community that comprises less than 1% of the people in this country, and that the Republicans are hell-bent on eradicating transgender people, or are hell-bent on eradicating anybody, immigrants, Black people, Democrats, truly. And we need to respond accordingly. Loretta, thank you so very, very much for this comment. You're a mean one, Mr. Trump. The lyrics are fitting. Yeah. And I wouldn't touch him with a 39.5-foot pole. So, yeah. And Lilith6680 is a new member. Thank you so much, Lilith, and welcome. It is great to have you here. Just as it has been great to have everybody here tonight. Thank you for putting up with my weird schedule and my travel. But I'm heading back to New York tomorrow, and we will be there for a while-ish. So we'll keep you posted on our travels. But again, thank you so much for being patient and for supporting my phenomenal guest hosts. It was great. I mean, by the way, it's not just that Brian subbed for me last night. It's that, was it last night or 2 nights ago? I don't even know anymore. It's that he and his wife are in England. So he did the show at like 11 o'clock or midnight. So once again, the Nerd Avengers go above and beyond. So thank you to Brian. Thank you for watching his guest host, and send him all the love, please. All right. So, and thank you to everybody who watching on YouTube, streaming on Twitter, and on our Substack, The Good in Us, everybody listening to the podcast, to all of our new members, everybody gifting memberships, all of our super stickers, and everybody giving us donations. It truly, truly matters. We know that the times are tough. And there are a lot of organizations that used to, for example, get government funding that no longer do, that desperately need help as well. So anything you give us is truly, truly appreciated. We're up against a lot of obstacles. So anything you guys can do for us is truly appreciated. To our moderators who keep doing the good work day in, day out, even though it is pretty thankless work, except of course, I guess, they have helped us create this community. And that means so much to us. And I hope it means a lot to them as well. And of course, to my extraordinary team, not just for doing the work, but for being so flexible and so generous and so kind. Could not do it without you guys. It's Friday, I think. So go have a wonderful weekend, chill out, unplug, do all those things that we need to do to keep sane and healthy. And we will see you back here Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern for Mary Trump Live. Don't forget, we have videos dropping every single day, including Saturdays and Sundays. The easiest way to support us is please subscribe to the channel. It's very easy. It costs nothing. Just click subscribe. And after you do that, click on the bell icon and choose, you can choose when to be alerted. Just click on all, because you do not want the Google algorithm or the YouTube algorithm to make decisions for you. Do you? No, of course not. Another great way to support us that's pretty easy is just watch our pre-recorded videos. Again, we drop them every single day of the week. Watch them, like them, share them, comment on them. That helps us out a lot. And that's it. Have an amazing weekend. See you Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern. In the meantime, everybody, please stay safe and be kind. Bye.